Hey everyone, this is Courtney and welcome to your practice. Today's class is a class that's like probably a weirdly specific one, but it's for anybody who is either prone to anxiety, so you've experienced this a lot, or for anybody who has been through something that has caused a big spike in anxiety, which does happen to everybody from time to time, and you're feeling like a little bit flat. So I like to call this an anxiety hangover. And essentially what has happened in your body and in your brain is that you're in a state of what's known as somatic shutdown. So anxiety is kind of the experience of like a lot of energy that really doesn't have anywhere to go. So it kind of gets trapped within body, mind. And when that happens, either over like a longer period of time, so if you've gone through a cycle where you have higher anxiety, like say you've just been living through a pandemic, or if it's a shorter thing, like more situational and you've had like a very stressful week, or even something as short as like you were just in a very minor fender bender, but it kind of spiked that response in you, you can feel how that reaction kind of builds up within the body and then doesn't really have anywhere to diffuse and to go. So essentially with this huge buildup of energy, it kind of implodes and like drags your whole system down a little bit, which is why it feels like a hangover. So today's class, we're gonna work with that, and this is one of the things that I actually like really weirdly like about teaching these little tutorials online is like, this would be such a weird class to teach to a huge group of people because it's so specific and because it just assumes that you're in this state and this is what you're looking for. But online, I mean, somehow you found this or chose this class, so welcome, hang out with me. So today we're gonna do some stuff to help disperse that energy and bring you back into a state of more homeostasis, a more balanced mental and energetic state. And that's really like with the asana and pranayama practice, so the physical practices of yoga, this is really what we're doing, right? We're trying to either bring energy back up when it's too low, or we're trying to lower it back down when it's too high. And we're always looking to come back to that midline, sama or equanimity, however you like to think of that. So for today's class, we're gonna need a block, we're gonna need a strap, and then access to a wall. So just make sure that you have something that you can put your hands and your feet against. All right, so let's get started. All right, so to begin, we're gonna start on our backs with our feet at the wall. So if you haven't already moved your mat, take the short edge to a wall, either right against it or pretty close to it, and that's where we'll start. So we'll begin on our backs, and just with your feet against the wall. I apologize if my door bangs around a little bit, such as life living in a humid climate where the temperature fluctuates a lot. The doors don't always fit in the frames. And I'm in a rental, so what am I gonna do about it? All right, so feet against the door or against the wall, whatever you've got. And I just have the balls of my feet against the door for the moment, and you can see my knees are bent just a little bit. So this is something I really like to do just because it feels great. So hold onto the sides of your mat and then lengthen your legs, right? So lengthen the legs out so it kind of captures the shoulder blades, the scapula, captures the back of the pelvis, almost drags them down. Let's take a couple of breaths there. You might get a nice little click or a nice little pop. And again, we'll rebend the knees, scoot a little closer. And I recommit to your feet being at the wall, and then press feet into the wall, lengthen the legs. Shoulders, back of pelvis are kind of trapped between the sticky mat. All right. And then just here with the feet on the wall, go ahead and relax your arms. Let the palms turn up, let the eyes close. We'll take a deep breath in through the nose. Then open the mouth and exhale. Good. Another deep breath in. And open the mouth as you release. You're certainly welcome to keep your eyes closed if that's comfortable for you. If you prefer, let the eyes open. Just keep a nice soft gaze. We're just going to press one foot into the wall and then press the other foot into the wall. It's almost like you're walking. Right? And it's just the mellowest walking possible. And just pressing right and left. So it's really helpful when you have this kind of flatlining effect after you've been a little up or a little manic or a little anxious. It's really helpful to reestablish the boundaries of your body and to feel your feet again. Right? So to press into something, to feel the arches start to activate, the feet start to activate. And if you're somebody who tends to cycle between lower states like depression or higher states and higher states, however long those cycles are for you, and this can really help you stave off a deeper sense of flatness, right? Or sliding into somatic collapse, which is essentially a depression. Okay. So once we've just gone right and left, pressing the feet into the wall, go ahead and pause. And we'll bring both feet to the floor, knees bent. This is really purposefully a mellow class. Okay? So knees bent, same type of things. Now starting to swing one knee away, so pressing right knee away to start. And releasing, pressing left knee away. And releasing, kind of feeling this movement through the pelvis now, maybe even the low back. Allowing your breath to move in. So your breath might be a little faster, a little slower than one breath per movement, and that's fine. Just allow your breath to be what it is, but also allow yourself to be aware of it. So once that starts to smooth out, now if you can, on your in-breath, send your knee away. And exhale to return to center. We'll inhale, send the knee away. And exhale to return to center. Right, so pressing each foot into the ground. I'm just feeling that almost twist, really light twist of the pelvis. Once you're back to center, go ahead and release. Just pausing. We'll keep the right leg as it is. Lengthen your left leg out, so left foot's against the wall now. Okay. And we'll just begin by turning the right leg out from the hip, so let the knee flop out to the side. Slide that foot down the inner left leg all the way to the wall. And we'll turn the toes up and then bend the knee, slide the foot against the floor. Knee up towards the ceiling. Turn the leg out from the hip. Foot slides along the inseam of the leg as you lengthen your right leg. Good. Foot presses against the wall. Go ahead and bend the knee so knee points up to the ceiling. As you bend the knee, slide your foot along the floor. Let the leg flop out to the side. Slide it along inseam of the leg. Foot to the wall. So again, we're just going to continue this. Try to coordinate the breath a little bit now. So inhaling as you bend the knee. Opening it out. And exhaling as you lengthen that leg. What we're really aiming to do is to disperse the energy that can get stuck in the body, particularly in the pelvis and the low back and in the diaphragm. All of those structures are so intimately related, right? And letting it flow through and out of the body. So you might notice any kind of shivering, any vibration, tingling, flushes of heat or flushes of cool. And like I said earlier, we're really purposefully not having a really high energetic output. So this is definitely not a HIIT class. And then go ahead and lengthen the right leg. We'll bend the left knee, slide the foot along the floor, turn the leg out from the hip, and then slide the foot along the inseam of the leg. Okay, foot all the way to the wall. Bend the knee, inhale, and then we'll exhale, slide the leg away. Let this be really simple, really easy movements. So you don't have to work too hard. Again, allowing any flushes of breath, any deeper breaths, any yawns or sighs to happen quite naturally. You might open your mouth, wiggle your jaw around a little bit as you do this. I'm just a fan of such basic stuff, such easy to do, accessible things that make such a big impact. And really, what is a yoga practice? Right? Is a yoga practice about achieving the next thing always, or is it about something more? Is it about knowing how to live your life well and knowing how to regulate and manage your own cycle? We'll just do one more here. We'll bend both knees, bring both feet to the floor. Let yourself drop for just a moment, feeling the weight of the back of the pelvis in the ground. And then really simply, take your feet a little wider than hip distance. I do this all the time. I love this movement. Swing your knees to the left. Inhale into the movement. So you can see I'm kind of exaggerating, sending that knee, the top knee away towards the wall. And then exhaling back to center. So inhaling to the other side. Arching into the back, sending that top knee away. And exhaling to center. Inhaling. Just letting the body move, right? Let the body be really fluid. So letting go of the rigidity. Letting go of the holding, the tension. So again, we're inhaling into the movement, arching the back as the knees flop to one side. And exhaling to the center. Feel this slight twist through the diaphragm, through the belly. So you're softening any freezing of those structures. Letting yawning happen. I just had a nice yawn. Just one more time like this. So nice. So feet back to the ground. Interlace your hands behind your head. So on the in-breath, we'll press the elbows towards the floor, arch the back. And exhale, keep it really small to start. Navel to spine, blow back to the floor, draw the elbows in towards each other, and just lift the head a little bit and feel what that feels like. And inhale, arching the back, pressing elbows to floor, and exhale, elbows together, back to the ground. And if you start to lift a little more, lift a little more. Inhaling. And exhaling to round. Inhaling, arching. Exhaling, rounding. And inhaling, arching. Exhaling, rounding. We're going to add a little bit more to this. So walk your knees to touch, walk your feet to touch. And inhale as you arch, send the knees wide as the elbows go wide. And exhale, round, knees come together. So inhaling to arch. Knees wide, elbows wide, exhaling to round. A few more like this, inhaling. Everything really wide, exhaling. And at the end of your last one, let yourself drop. Lengthening your legs, feet against the wall. Again, you might have scooted a little closer, so lengthen the legs. Let it trap shoulder blades, let it trap pelvis. Close your eyes, notice what's present. Just feeling yourself drop. Any residual anxiety, any residual fear dropping down into the ground. So reach your hands up towards the ceiling. Join the palms, interlace the fingers, and then flip the hands. And we'll inhale, reach the arms alongside the ears as you press feet into the wall. And feeling the diaphragm move outward. Letting the ribs flare out, letting the belly draw in. Feet to the wall, hands reaching like they're able to press a wall. And exhale as you release. Nice. Okay, bend both knees. Bring your feet to the floor, find that strap, hopefully somewhere nearby. Bend the right knee towards the chest, ball of the foot onto that strap, lengthen your leg up towards the ceiling. You're certainly welcome to stay here, pressing left foot into the floor, or you can lengthen that left leg, again, pressing foot into the wall. Okay, so really simply, we're just gonna bend the right knee a little bit, really pull down through that strap with your hands, and then against that resistance, press your right heel away towards the ceiling. And if your leg's farther away, that's fine, okay? Just bending the knee, re-straightening the leg. Just continuing to press. And maybe inhaling as you bend and exhaling to lengthen. So pumping and rocking movements are really especially helpful to disperse any stagnant energy. All right, next time the leg is straight, leave it straight. We'll bring both sides of the strap into the right hand. Bring your left hand down to the top of the left thigh, and we'll take the leg over to the right. Okay? And if your leg is heavy, which everybody's is, and your back starts to lift away from the floor, that's fine. Let it happen at first. Okay? So really arching into this stretch. Sending right foot into that strap, sending left foot into the floor or the wall. And then backing off just enough so that the left thigh can reground. The back of the left hip can stay on the ground, and your right leg will probably lift a little bit away from the floor. We'll inhale, come all the way back through center. Bend that right knee, release the foot to the ground, and then hug left knee towards the chest. Strap around the ball of the left foot, lengthen that foot up towards the ceiling or towards the horizon line, whatever your flexibility allows you to do today. And right foot either stays on the ground if that's better for you, or right leg lengthens, foot against the wall. So really pressing right foot into whatever you've got. Bend your left knee. Walk your hands up the strap just at like half a hand's length. And then with that extra resistance, press heel away from you, lengthen your leg. So we're just going to pump this left leg a few times, bending and re-straightening. Letting the in-breath bend the knee, and the out-breath lengthen the leg. So nice too, just to feel the strength and the power of the legs. Right? These things that carry us from point A to B. These really big muscles of the body. Right? So reactivating them and not letting that hypertonic state become a state of collapse through and decay through the muscles. Next time the leg is straight, leave it straight. Bring your left hand to both sides of the strap, right hand to the top of the right thigh, and hopefully you have room. Take your left leg over to the left. And if your back arches into this, which so often it will, and the right hip lifts away from the floor, let it happen at first. Right? You might even breathe into that right hip flexor a little bit. And then we'll re-glue right hip to the floor. And left leg will probably lift a little away from the floor. And on your in-breath, we'll come all the way back up to center. Bend that knee, release the strap, just strap off to the side. Bending both knees, bring right ankle on top of the left knee, hug your leg in towards your body, hands in that little triangle between your legs, holding onto the back of the left thigh. So we'll just rock a little bit side to side here. Again, maybe coordinating breath with movement. So inhaling as you send the knees over to the left, and exhaling as they open to the right. Ahead, lengthen your left leg. Bring your shin so your right shin is crossed on top of your left, and then bend both knees. Reach up for your feet. Okay, and if that's not possible, hold on to your shins or your ankles. So just the shins crossed to start. So Supta Sukhasana. Again, little rock side to side. You might let your head rock side to side with you. You might close the eyes. Totally fine. And we'll lengthen the legs. Cross your thigh bones now, so you're knee to knee. And if that's not possible, you might consider one of the previous two things. Then again, either holding on to shins or holding on to feet. They produce slightly different sensations if you can do both. So try each. A little rock side to side. If you can hold on to your knees, go ahead and hold on to your knees. Give your knees a bit of a hug in, or hold on to your shins. Give your shins a hug. And then we'll lengthen the legs, bend both knees, feet to the floor. And second side, left ankle on top of the right knee, hugging right knee towards the chest, hands behind the back of that right thigh. And just rocking a bit side to side. So maybe inhaling as the knees go to the right and exhaling as they drop to the left. And this is a great place. You really might start to feel more release here with every rock side to side. And letting the body loosen. As you come back to the center, and go ahead and lengthen both legs. Keep left shin crossed over the right. Bend your knees and then hold on to your feet. So Supta Sukhasana, reclined easy pose. Don't think of it like it's easy to do, just easy as in there is ease present. And again, just rocking a little side to side. Lengthening the legs, cross the left knee on top of the right for Supta Gomukhasana, and then hold on to the shins, the ankles, or the feet. And once again, you can rock side to side, holding on to whatever you're holding on to. So just pausing in the middle, holding on to either knees or holding on to shins. Give that a nice little squeeze in. You might lift your head a little. And we'll unwind the legs, knees into your chest. A big squeeze, feet to the ground. And we'll roll to one side. And leave the head heavy as you just transition onto hands and knees. Go ahead and grab that block. So take the knees wider than the hips, let the big toes touch, and then settle the hips back for child's pose. Your hips may or may not ever touch your heels. As you can see, mine don't. I just have a little too much stuff in the way. So if that's the case for you, it just doesn't matter. And so with forehead to the block, you might gently rock your head side to side, just massaging that brow bone. That can feel really nice. Still breathing. Nice. Lift your head enough to move that block out of the way, but we want to keep it handy so we can grab it when we need it. Take a look at your hands. Hold on to the sides of your mat. So I have my 4 fingers curled under. Thumbs are free though. So press your hands into that mat. Reach the hips back. Try to pull your arms apart. Forehead can come to the ground now if that feels comfortable. We'll inhale up on the hands and knees, still holding onto the sides of the mat. Tuck the toes, reach the hips up and back, and come into a downward facing dog. This is a good place to pedal the feet. As you're ready to come to stillness, but let your feet be a little wider than hip distance apart. Toes maybe turn just really lightly inward towards each other. It's encouraging a little space through the base of the pelvis. Start to firm the thighs back a little more, send the heels back a little bit more. Press and pull into that mat. We'll bring the knees down. Bring the feet back to hip distance. Bring the hands to shoulder distance, or maybe a little wider. Tuck the toes. Reach the hips up and back. So just really feeling that connection between hands and feet and ground. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, maybe make some noise as you sigh out. And again, inhale. Open the mouth, make a little noise. We'll step the right foot between the hands. So however that works for you, and that might be bringing the knee down first. Wiggle your right foot forward if your ankle wasn't right underneath the knee to start with. And then from here, walk the left knee back just a little bit. Okay. So we're pausing here, lengthening the chest. Press the hips forward. And then as you exhale, just round a little bit. And we'll inhale, press the hips forward, almost like you're trying to arch the back. Exhale as you round. Just one more like this. Inhale. And exhale to round. This time we'll walk the hands all the way back, flip the right toes up. And lengthen the chest forward. Pausing here. If you like a little bit of a deeper stretch, of course, left hand can come to the ball of the foot, drawing back. And if you have a little connection between hand and foot, press your foot into the hand. The other thing is if you have a couple of blocks, if you're feeling a little like you just don't have enough room, have your hands on blocks. And then we'll inhale to come forward. Go ahead and lift your left knee up. Right, so this is a much less specific, much less technical practice than maybe we're used to. But with the left thigh lifting, press down through the left hand. We'll reach the right arm up. And so just introducing a little bit of a twist, a little bit of strength. Can the left thigh be buoyant as the left foot presses down and back? Can the chest be buoyant and light as you press down through the left hand? Exhale as you release. Right hand to the ground. Step all the way back to downward facing dog. If your feet are at the wall, that's great. The heels can touch the wall. That can feel really nice sometimes. Wherever you are, again, we'll take a deep breath in. Open the mouth, exhale. Step your left foot forward between your hands. And right knee to the floor. Go ahead and wiggle your left foot forward if the ankle wasn't underneath the knee. And then take a little step back with that right knee. And then just pulsing back and forth. So again, if your hands are on blocks, great. Have that. Inhale as you send the hips down and forward. And then exhale to round the spine. So this is going to look different for every body. Inhale as you arch a little bit. And then exhale to round. So go for sensation rather than for looks. Right? Inhale. And exhale to round. And last time like this, inhale, arching. And then exhale, hands walk back. Left toes flip up. And go ahead and reach the chest forward. And then if you want, of course, right hand can come to the ball of that left foot. And if that's happening, you can press the ball of your foot into that hand. You might be feeling a little heat building at this point. Right? It's just the body discharging some energy. Go ahead and release, walk the hands forward. With back toes tucked, lift up that right knee, and then right hand to the ground. As you inhale, go ahead and reach left arm high. So right thigh lifting, right foot grounding down, pulling back, opening up through the chest. Couple of deep breaths here. And exhale, left hand to the ground. Step all the way back, downward facing dog. And again, you might pedal your feet, you might sway a little side to side. As you're ready, we'll step that right foot forward between the hands, turn the left heel to the ground, then just make sure you've got your block handy. We're gonna place it on the inner edge of the right foot. Inhale as you come up to Virabhadrasana 2. Okay. So right toes are pointed forward, left toes are turned a little bit in. Left fingertips reaching back, you might even be able to touch that wall. Right fingertips forward. So really feel the feet pressing down. And on your exhalation, we'll bring right hand to that block. Left arm up and over the ear. So as you're here, really press that right hand, turn and open the chest. Keep the left thigh firming back and feet rooting down. So we want to feel the arches of the feet lifting here in standing poses. So big toe mound, little toe mound, center of the heel pressing. Inner arches pulling up. And then press your right inner knee into that arm so you can feel the outer leg start to turn on. And then great, bring that block with you as you inhale back to warrior 2. Lengthen your leg and exhale. Bring right hand down outside of the leg this time. Left arm high for Ardha Chandrasana. Sorry, not Ardha Chandrasana, for Titha Trikonasana. So we're still just pressing down. And as you press down into the ground, feel the lift up, reaching up through the left fingertips, the buoyancy, the lightness of the chest. Root through the feet, inhale, come all the way up to stand. Turn your feet. Okay. Block into that right hand, reach the arms. And as you exhale, we'll bend the left knee. Place that block on the inner edge of the leg. Virabhadrasana 2. Okay. So maybe right fingertips are pressing into that wall, firming right thigh back, really feeling the feet root down, feeling the arches lift, legs are super, super active. And as you exhale, bring left hand to that block, right arm up and over. You've got that wall right there, maybe you're touching it. So just really strong poses, really strong, steady, stable poses. So as the feet root, feel the legs activate, right? As that left inner arch lifts, root down through the big toe mound and press your inner knee into that left arm so that you can feel the outer hips starting to activate, starting to work. Good. Hold on to that block. Inhale, we'll come all the way back up to stand, lengthening the arms, lengthening the legs. And then exhale, left hand down outside of that left leg somewhere. Right arm nice and high for Uttita Trikonasana. Pausing and breathing. Can you let your breath be as wide as your arms here? As you root through the feet a little bit more, just for these last couple of breaths, and you almost get the sense that by rooting down, you can lift up. There's a little more buoyancy and lightness to the chest. On your in-breath, come all the way up to stand. Parallel the feet. So we've still got the block. You might want to walk your feet in just a little bit closer. And then toes point inward. Okay, so holding onto the block, inhale, reach the arms forward. And then exhale, all the way down. So we'll still hold onto the block. Reach that block away, right? I like to just have my hands on top of it. Send the hips back. Almost like a very wide-legged downward facing dog, but my hands are just a little narrower because they're on that block. And if that's too narrow for you, if that's too narrow, take your hands wider. Nice. So we'll slide that block back, slide the arms back, turn the block on the medium-ish setting. If that works, that's usually pretty good for most people. Crown of the head down, or the hairline, we'll say that. So halfway between crown of head and the brow bone, right on top of that block. Take your hands out to your shins, elbows wide. And from here, really pull with your arms, pressing your hands into those outer shins. A few big breaths. Again, send your ribs out into those elbows. We'll bring fingertips to the floor. Inhale and lift halfway. Nice. So block might be handy here. You also might not need it. Bring your left hand to the ground. Bring right hand to the hip. And on your exhalation, turn and twist, opening up to the side. If it feels appropriate, reach that right arm high. And as you exhale, hand to the ground. Right hand down, left hand to hip, inhale. And exhale as you turn and twist. So we want to keep the practice pretty mellow, right? Because we've already been in this kind of overactive state where the body and the brain basically have felt threatened. So we're not pushing too hard. And exhale as you release down. Good. Inhale to lift. Nice. And then exhale, fold one more time. Walk the hands back. I like to have elbows bent, palms on the ground, fingertips pointed forward. Shoulders lifting up away from the ears. We'll walk the hands forward, inhale. Nice. And then walk the feet in. So again, just keep it pretty mellow. Walk the feet in, heel toeing until they're hip distance and parallel. Bend your knees, hands to your hips. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. All right, so stand in the middle of your mat, which is going to be really a pretty good starting place for most of us. We're going to turn to face the front edge. Place that block down just a little bit outside of the right foot and forward, and then left hand to the left hip. So go ahead and reach back with your left leg, and you'll be able to feel if you need to walk forwards. This all depends on your proportions. If you need to walk a little backward, that's fine too. Okay. So left foot is on the wall, currently toes are pointed down. We'll turn the toes out to the left, and as you do that, come onto a little more weight on that block with your right hand. So here we are in Ardha Chandrasana. Left foot really pressing into that wall. Left arm reaching high. You can look down to the ground, you can look forward, you can look up. You can try closing your eyes if you want. But I'd probably suggest keeping the eyes open and just finding something steady to gaze at. Nice. And then left hand at the hip. We'll gently turn to look down to the ground. A little bend through that right knee. Step your left foot down. Okay, so let's move to the other side. So now you know the length of your legs. So left hand to the block, right hand to hip. We'll bend left knee. Bring your right foot to the wall, toes pointed down. Okay. And then from here, turn your right toes out, so that's going to externally rotate the leg from the hip for now. And then we'll exhale and open up. So now that right leg is neutral in its socket. Again, not too worried about the technicalities. Left leg's externally rotated, right arm reaches high. Really pressing both feet into the surfaces that they're touching. Left hand is rooted into that block. Right arm is reaching up. The connection to the ground, the connection to the earth, the connection to whatever you're touching is just as important as the pose for today. Again, sending breath outward. Super wide, feeling the spread of the ribs. And then we'll exhale. Turn the chest down, bend your left knee, release your right foot. Good. Bend both knees as you come to a little simple, easy forward fold. Come all the way up to stand. Nice. And last, standing pose. So standing balancing poses are just so important in general, but they're really, really great for this, for rebuilding confidence. So we're going to turn to stand, sort of facing the wall. You can do like a quick test, kind of see where you need to be. So again, about halfway up the mat. I have pretty long legs for my body, so I'm a little further than halfway. Come to stand on your right foot, bend your left knee, or whatever leg is closest to the wall. Okay, strap around the ball of that foot. And I'm holding the strap inside of the leg today. Right hand to the right hip. Go ahead and lengthen your leg. We'll take it out to the side. Okay, a little far away. So redo. So reach it forward, take it out. Ooh, there's that wall. So you can really play around. It's not that hard to adjust once you're up here, and it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Just pressing foot into the wall, pressing other foot into the floor. Reach the arm out. And steady gaze. We'll release the hand first. Go ahead and release that lifted leg. A little harder to get it off the wall. And then bend the knee. Okay, let's go ahead and turn around. You could also do this with your hand at the wall. Instead, you could do it with your whole back against the wall. That's a nice way to do this. Otherwise, you'll take your other leg, hand to the hip. Go ahead and reach foot to the wall. Okay. Standing leg, heel right underneath that hip, the best you can do that. And then arm to the side. I like this version just because without having to work on the balance quite as much, you can really work on lifting the chest. You can really work on sending that standing thigh back and sending the breath out. As we're ready, we'll bend through the knee. One way or another, slide that foot off the wall. Release your foot. Release the strap. Just feel feet on the ground, arms reaching down. Samastitihi, standing tall. Feeling the sensation of feet connecting to earth. The vibration and aliveness of the body. Feeling breath. Feeling being in this moment. If your eyes are closed, gently allow them to open. And we'll come down to a seat. Okay. So this might be a place where you want to sit on your block. If that's the case, but on a low setting, go ahead and sit down onto it. We'll bend the left knee in and then bring the right leg on top. If this is too much, cross your shins into Sukhasana. Okay? So wherever you can find ease. Fingertips to the floor, inhale. And as you exhale, go ahead and walk the hands forward. For some of you, right, it's going to feel better to be off of the block, or you have a second block present, and you can fold over and bring your forehead to that block. We'll inhale and lift and release. Block to the side. Bring your right foot to the ground and curl your left heel closer to the hip. Okay? Wrap that right elbow in front, left hand behind. Lift up nice and tall. And then as you exhale, turn and twist. If you want to sneak that left arm to the top of the thigh, that's fine. Again, we really want that right hip to stay connected, and we want the chest lifted. Collarbones broadening. You can look back or maybe look forward. And we'll exhale to unwind. Good. Unwind the legs and just take it the opposite way. So again, you might be sitting on your block. Right knee comes forward first, left knee on top. Shins parallel if that's better for you. I also kind of like to shore things up a little bit. And then I'm keeping the block handy, fingertips to floor, inhale. And as you exhale, folding forward. Nice, the forehead to block if that feels good. Block under hips if that's better. Palms turning up. Now starting to send the breath into the back body. And letting the spine curl. Inhale to come up. Just block to the side. Bring your left foot to the floor. Curl your right knee in right heel in a little bit more. Right elbow around the front of that knee, left hand behind, inhale. And then we'll exhale to turn. Again, if you like a little bit more and you want to have that arm inside, that's totally fine. Just making sure left hip point is touching the ground, left hip sit bone is touching ground. We're moving in that direction. Collarbones are broad, chest is lifted. And then looking forward. Nice steady breath. On your exhalation, we'll release. And so just setting up again. A couple of poses here at the end. So we're going to take our strap, place the strap around the legs, go through both D-rings, over one, back through the other. And this doesn't have to be super tight, but I want you close enough so that your feet will eventually touch the wall. Come down onto your back, and then we have this block handy. So with knees bent, go ahead and lift your hips, slide that block underneath. So we want the block, as you can see, my low back is completely free of the block. The block is underneath the back of the pelvis. Super, super important. And then bring your feet forward. So as you can see, I can still move my legs independently even though they have a strap. And if the strap is at all problematic, uncomfortable, triggering, no strap. Get rid of the strap. Okay? Go ahead and lengthen your legs. Feet pressing against that wall. Shoulder blades just slightly underneath. And letting the eyes close. Encourage the breath to move out to the sides of the ribs. Letting the neck soften. Letting the jaw slide open. You might even give it a little wiggle side to side. Let's open the mouth pretty significantly, pretty wide. And just holding your mouth open. And really slowly, over the next 20 seconds, closing the mouth. And we'll open the mouth super, super wide. Hold it here. And then exhaling very slowly, letting the mouth close, narrowing that space. And again, wiggle the jaw side to side. Might get some good clicks and pops. And if it's comfortable for you, reach your hands up towards the sky. Again, interlace the fingers, flip the palms, reach your arms alongside your ears. And releasing arms, bending both knees. You could certainly stay here for longer if you wanted to. Lift up your hips and go ahead and release them down to the ground. So just pausing in neutral for a moment. Okay. And one way or another, go ahead and scoot yourself so that one hip is really close to the wall. We'll bring the block with us. And again, if you don't have a strap on your legs, that's totally fine. Don't worry about it. And we'll come on back, lengthen the legs up onto the wall. So you might have to scoot your legs a little closer. And then sometimes I even like to just place that block in between the legs. That can feel really good. And if you're like, meh, I'm just gonna do whatever, that's fine. Right? So if you're having block between the legs, make a little sandwich with your legs, block in the middle, strap. And then again, arms either by your sides. It might feel nice to bend your elbows, palms looking to the ceiling. And letting eyes close here in Viparita Karani. As you continue to allow your awareness to touch on your breath, feel the whole body breathing. So not just the ribs, not just the lungs, the diaphragm. Expand outward from the torso. Can you feel the pelvis breathe? Can you feel the eyes of the heart or the collarbones breathe? Can you feel as though the soles of the feet and the palms of the hands are also breathing? Can you feel the room breathing around you? As though with each in-breath, the walls expand outward. And with each exhalation, they release back to their natural shape. And very gently, if your arms are overhead, bring them back down by your sides if they're not already there. Reach up and just loosen that strap. You might even slip that block out of the way. And bend your knees, bring your feet to that wall. We'll roll to one side. Just pausing here for a moment. And using hands, using arms, go ahead, come up onto hands and knees. Slide that strap off. Good. And come to a seat. Again, really nice place. If you want to sit on the block, sit on the block. So just ending here with a little hand mudra. So this is called Matangi Mudra, named for the Devi Matangi, who's the guardian of outsiders and misfits. which honestly for anybody in the midst of anxiety or coming out of that can feel pretty isolating. So go ahead and join your palms, interlace your fingers like you're setting up for a headstand. And then we'll release the middle fingers so they're touching. Then make rings with forefinger and thumbs touching. Okay. Right at heart center, elbows nice and wide. And just breathing into this, a really strong shape. Strong, connected, ascending. Gently releasing this mudra as you're ready. De-interlacing the fingers, joining palms to heart center, bowing the chin. Taking a moment to honor your practice, honor your cycles. Grateful for the diversity of experience we get to feel in this life, we get to go through in this life. Thank you so much for joining, and I really hope that this helps. Namaste, everybody.